Now, please welcome back to the stage, founder and chairman of Money 2020, Jonathan Weiner.
Money 2020. Is everyone having a good time? Come on. Okay, so now we've reached one of my favorite parts of the show, which is seeing the Startup Pitch 180 winners. Startup Pitch 180 highlights some of the latest, most innovative and disruptive fintech startups. This year, we evaluated hundreds of companies for a total of 30 spots to pitch their company in 180 seconds, which took place yesterday and today. We had 15 early-stage companies and 15 late-stage companies. And from each group, there was a VC winner, picked by a panel of leading venture capitalists, and there was also a People's Choice winner, selected through audience voting in the app. So we have a total of 4 winners presenting on the main stage today, and each of the winning teams also won $10,000 in cash. So it gives me great pleasure to announce our first winner. So here's the Startup Pitch 180 VC winner from the early stage group. So please welcome Will Summerlin from Pinn Technologies.
Thanks, Jonathan. Thank you. All right. Hey guys, how's it going? My name is Will Summerlin. I'm the founder and CEO of a security company called Pinn Technologies. So if you guys have been in any of the presentations in the last couple of days, you've probably heard 2 words, frictionless and secure. We all want transactions to be frictionless and secure. But the problem is, with our traditional approach to security, that's not really possible. So to give you some context on that, if you think about secure networks, payments networks are a great example, you have this chain of trust. And that chain of trust is built with complex encryption keys and tokens and all sorts of things. And it extends all the way to an edge device. You know, in the payments world, those devices are ATMs and card terminals and other purpose-built devices. But the problem is, the only thing connecting the human on the edge with that device is some really easy to remember arbitrary credential, like a 4-digit PIN. So basically what happens is when you go to an ATM, for example, and you insert your card and enter your PIN, an assumption is made that if the PIN is correct, you are who you say you are. An assumption is made. And that's the vulnerability that hackers and fraudsters exploit all the time. You know, Michael Chertoff just said this about a week or 2 ago, and he put it really well. He said passwords are the weakest link in the cybersecurity world. And basically what he was referring to is that vulnerability. It's the attack vector that's used. If you look at any of the major data breaches in the last couple of years, the attack vector has always been that access point between the human and that chain of trust, the human and that device. So when we started Pinn a couple of years ago, our goal was to eliminate that vulnerability. And what we realized pretty early on was all these devices on the edge of networks are pretty smart, which basically just means they have a lot of sensors. And so we started looking at the data that those sensors were collecting, specifically around how humans were interacting with those devices. And what we realized is a lot of those signals, like images, video, audio, even things like keystroke, which is how someone is entering their PIN, and even in vehicles, which I'll talk about in a second, things like the way someone presses the brake and the accelerator. All those patterns were pretty unique to a single person, but also consistent to a person. So you know, to you, it's unique among this entire group, but you also do that pattern fairly consistently. And so we started using artificial intelligence and built this artificial intelligence engine to start recognizing those patterns. And basically what that allows us to do is passively establish another link in that chain beyond that edge device all the way to the actual human. And what that does is eliminates that most common vulnerability. It eliminates that attack vector. And so, you know, as with any biometrics or behavioral biometrics, there's always going to be some false rejection, false acceptance. But because we designed the system to be really modular, and we're taking in all sorts of different signals, it can be audio, video, telematics from a vehicle, really anything, we have really, really low false acceptance and false rejection rates. Industry leading. And so to give you guys a use case, ATMs. So an ATM is a place where transactions should be really secure, but also fairly easy and fairly frictionless. So we actually went on eBay and bought an ATM and put it in our office. And our goal is to see if we can make that transaction more secure. But we didn't want to change the user behavior. We wanted it to be completely passive. So we started realizing, we can collect data from the camera, we can collect data about how someone is entering their PIN, and we started doing that. And basically what happened is this thing called bit entropy increased from 13, which every ATM is right now, to 222. So basically what that means is a hacker's computer can break your 4-digit PIN at an average ATM and access your money in less than a second, which is really scary. But the ATM in our office would take a hacker over 200 billion years for their computer to do the same thing and present it themselves as you. So it's incredible, and what's amazing is that's completely passive. So if you go to our ATM and then another ATM, you can't tell the difference. Another example is for car-based payments. And so a lot of car companies are pioneering this, and we're working with one major one. And basically what we're doing is looking at the way that you drive your vehicle, the way you press the brake and the accelerator, the way you move the steering wheel. And what that allows us to do is validate your identity as the driver. And then that vehicle can actually act as a credit card, places like drive-thrus and gas stations and parking garages. And it's the same idea. It's just recognizing those patterns that are unique but also consistent. So privacy is a big concern. Every CIO's worst nightmare is to wake up one morning and realize that their customer's biometric data has been stolen. And so we're pioneering this technology called cancelable biometrics. Basically what that means is our system actually learns on and stores representations and obfuscated versions of your customer's data. So that data that we're keeping is really safe because if it's ever exposed, it's useless. And finally, one more point on our team. We have an incredible team doing this. We've got guys like the former chief architect of the NSA, former CTO of IBM Cybersecurity, former general counsel of Homeland Security, former head of M&A at Amazon, just an incredible team to help us with this mission. So thank you guys for listening. If you'd like to talk to me and learn more, feel free to come up to me or any of my guys on my team, or you can also shoot me an email. Thank you.